When El Chapo's name is mentioned, what springs to your mind? Likely it's of the notorious Druglord, a figure synonymous with violence and brutality. But have you ever pondered on the possibility of a different side to him? A facet that some may secretly long for, a narrative that grips not just his homeland, but reverberates across the globe. From his humble origins in the Guadalajara Cartel to his ultimate dominion over the Sinaloa Cartel, El Chapo's ascent is nothing less than extraordinary. Yet beneath the veil of his criminal enterprises lies a facet few recognize, the unexpected beacon of hope within his community. It embodies the notion of finding heroes within villains. This is the inspiring truth about El Chapo Guzmán. Joaquin Guzman Loera, better known as El Chapo, was born on April 4, 1957 in the small village of La Tuna, located in the rugged state of Sinaloa, Mexico. His childhood was marked by poverty and hardship as he experienced firsthand the challenges faced by those living on the margins of society. But despite these unfortunate conditions, young Joaquin displayed a remarkable intelligence and an unwavering determination to rise above his circumstances. From a tender age, Joaquin demonstrated an unwavering determination to alleviate the burdens on his family. Being born into a family of 8 was no joke to him, with not even the slightest advantage. To add fuel to the fire, he also had a father who was a squanderer. His prospect made providing for his kin seem daunting. Faced with such challenges, Guzman took the initiative to sell oranges in his quest to support his loved ones. However, his kindness towards his family extended far beyond mere financial support. He always intervened to shield his siblings from his father's wrath, revealing a tender heart amidst adversity. Moreover, he willingly sacrificed his education to prioritize his family's well-being, exemplifying a selflessness that became the cornerstone of his character. Nevertheless, despite his efforts, the pervasive poverty still enveloped him. It started to act as a potent catalyst, driving his ambition to break free from the relentless cycle of destitution that gripped so many. In this vessel of adversity, the seeds of his future pursuits took root as he began to carve a path that would ultimately lead to both admiration and condemnation. El Chapo's entry into the world of drug trafficking was an allure of easy money and power, which proved to be irresistible to a young man seeking to escape the clutches of poverty. He became associated with the Guadalajara Cartel, a powerful criminal organization that dominated the drug trade in Mexico during the 1970s and the 1980s. On his journey to seek a living within the cartel, he became recognized by its leader, Felix Gallardo, earning himself the title of his right-hand man. It was within this environment that Joaquin, who later would become known as El Chapo, honed his skills and began to ascend the ranks of the criminal underworld. But what truly set him apart during his ascent to supremacy? He was characterized by his astute intellect, strategic prowess, and exceptional ability to navigate the perilous terrain of the drug trade. This was vividly demonstrated when Felix fell into the calculated clutches of the Mexican army, prompting Guzman to orchestrate a masterful relocation to Sinaloa. There he deftly forged alliances with El Mayo and Palma, paving the way for the recreation of the formidable Sinaloa Cartel. It was a move that showcased his daring approach, akin to the high-stakes gambit by a visionary leader. With the support of his influential organization, El Chapo decisively neutralized rival gangs and cartels, firmly establishing himself as the foremost and most affluent figure within Mexico's drug trade. However, one cannot dismiss the intriguing notion that he possessed an aura of inspiration. El Chapo's arsenal was rich with attributes. His adept leadership, in particular, stood as a beacon. His exceptional leadership attributes and discerning business acumen enabled him to cultivate a network of devoted adherents. But his ascent to power was not a leisurely stroll. It was a formidable journey, marked by intense clashes with rival cartels and relentless scrutiny from law enforcement agencies. While El Chapo's notoriety is largely associated with his criminal activities, there are elements of his story that reveal a paradoxical sense of heroism. Within the communities of Sinaloa, he was revered as a benefactor, providing much-needed resources and support to those in need. His ability to navigate the complex web of power dynamics within the region allowed him to establish himself as a figure of influence and authority, transcending the traditional boundaries of criminality. In the eye of many in his community, El Chapo was a symbol of defiance against the oppressive forces of poverty and marginalization. His philanthropic efforts, which included the construction of schools, churches, and community centers, endeared him to the local population, fostering a sense of loyalty and gratitude. To them, he represented a beacon of hope in a world fraught with hardship, a testament to the complexities of his character and the conflicting narratives that define his legacy. As El Chapo's influence expanded, so too did his notoriety. He became a larger-than-life figure, known for his audacious escapes from high-security prisons and his ability to evade capture for years. His reign of power extended far beyond the borders of Mexico, as he became a key player in the international drug trade, solidifying his status as a figure of global significance. His ability to operate with impunity and outmaneuver law enforcement agencies made him a legendary figure in the annals of organized crime. Despite his aura of invincibility, El Chapo's empire eventually began to crumble. After years of eluding capture, he was finally apprehended by Mexican authorities in 2014. His arrest was a major victory for law enforcement, and it marked the beginning of a series of legal battles that would ultimately lead to his extradition to the United States. However, his extradition wasn't merely a procedural matter. It set the stage for one of the most riveting trials in recent memory. The proceedings offered unparalleled insights into the inner workings of the Sinaloa Cartel, featuring compelling testimonies from former associates turned witnesses. While these testimonies depicted El Chapo as a ruthless figure, they also hinted at his motivations to protect his family and his country. It presented a vivid portrayal of his resilience in the face of adversity, where he navigated daunting challenges such as providing employment opportunities. However, this perspective starkly contrasts with the portrayal presented by U.S. authorities during his trials.
Guzman made billions pouring poison over our southern border.
Their focus remained fixed on El Chapo's involvement in orchestrating elaborate getaways through tunnels and sewers, which they portrayed as cinematic in nature. In 2019, after the highly publicized trial, El Chapo was found guilty on multiple charges, including drug trafficking, money laundering, and involvement in a criminal enterprise. The one untouchable kingpin was subsequently sentenced to life in prison, marking the conclusion of his reign of terror. His incarceration extended beyond the norm. He was confined within the confines of the ADX Florence Supremax prison, renowned for its hostile environment, often likened to a miniature rendition of hell. This expansive Supermax facility houses some of history's most ruthless criminals, individuals driven not by wealth or authority, but by a perverse fascination with inflicting suffering. Like his fellow inmates, El Chapo endured solitary confinement for 23 hours each day. The limited break allowed outside his cell offered no relief. Interaction with other inmates was strictly prohibited. In isolation, inmates including El Chapo grappled with their thoughts, a haunting ordeal as described by a former prisoner. The oppressive darkness of the subterranean chambers became their sole companion, a stark reality where the mind engaged in relentless struggle until the break of dawn. During their designated hour of supervised free time, inmates including El Chapo were secured with restraints to mitigate any potential attempts at escape or disruptions. Possession of phones, gym equipment, or items with potential weaponization was strictly forbidden, a protocol enforced on individuals such as El Chapo and his fellow inmates as a consequence of their crimes.
El Chapo has been on a crusade since arriving at the Supermax in Colorado to communicate with his attorneys and allow them to deliver documents to his prison cell as he works to concoct a legal move that would result in his unlikely release.
The stringent approach prompted varied perspectives, with some questioning its severity, while others argue that it represents deserved consequences for their actions. Some attempt to empathize with figures like El Chapo, often hailed as heroes. In prison, El Chapo has had time to reflect on his life and the impact of his actions. While his name will forever be associated with crime and violence, there are those who believe that he has the potential for redemption. He has expressed remorse for the pain caused by his criminal activities and has shown a willingness to cooperate with authorities in their efforts to combat organized crime. It is within these contradictions that the true essence of El Chapo's heroism lies, offering a glimpse into the enigmatic forces that drove his ambitions and shaped his legacy.